Action. Activate. Oh, you caught me unaware. Sorry about that. Hey, it's me, Gazbot, and I'm here for Action Activate. Well, I was unprepared, but you know who's always prepared? Well, not always, but right now will be prepared.
It's me, the big Dawg Defender.
See, it seemed like he was unprepared, but he was preparing so much that he was like stealing himself. Yeah. Welcome, sir. How are you?
I was getting in the moment. I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I'm doing good for a lot of reasons. S.P.D is awesome. Been blowing through some episodes. My only regret is that like I almost wish we were reviewing every episode. And part of me was like, well, maybe we'll start doing that. But with Netflix and we're losing it, that's not an option right now. Also, we had put out a thing in one of our ramblings of like, hey, what Rangers do you think we would be? And I got Casey and RJ. Great. Could not be happier. Could not be happier.
I got Doggy Kruger, which I also was like, yup. And one that I don't know of, but the Black
Star.
Yeah, Black Q Ranger. I was like, I love that design. And it's funny because I want to say it was Lupin Green who said it. And I've told you, and I don't remember if I mentioned on the show, but out of that whole season, that was one of my favorite designs. And I don't remember who I've shared it with, but that was a great.
If you did say it on our show, it was like a year ago or something.
Yeah, it was forever ago. It was a deep cut.
Yeah, I think it's funny though that neither of yours are human characters.
Yeah, definitely not. I am otherworldly in my being.
But your self-assignment, like kind of based on Magna Defender, also not a human.
Yeah, I mean, I
maybe humanoid, but not human.
Yeah, I fuse with another worldly being.
Oh, if you're thinking that you're what's his name, the brother, who's the human's character? Mike. Thank you. I was thinking that you're the original Magna Defender.
No, honestly, I'd probably be that Magna Defender. I just kind of like that Firestorm kind of dichotomy of like him in the back of my head being like, "Oh, we got to go for vengeance," and I'd be like, "Way ahead of you, brother. Let's go."
Yeah. Okay, well, so we're not here to review or watch an episode this week. What we're going to do is there were 8 episodes between the last 2-parter and the final 2-parter. And so we were going to like blast through them all and then do the 2-parter. I think we did 6 episodes each. So we're caught up.
Correct.
Right. So there's 2 to go. And I think we're going to do a live review of Wormhole, which as of now, we're recording these ahead. So we're seeing comments from like 2 episodes ago. I did see somebody recommend Catastrophe, which would have been a good recommendation, but we already watched that a while ago. Maybe we'll go back and watch it. Well, no, we can't. If we find a way to watch SPD again, maybe we'll go back and watch it because I did like that episode. But
we're going to note.
Yes, we're going to just talk about the 6 episodes we've watched. And then the next episode will be a standard review reaction video to Wormhole. And then the one after that will be endings 1 and 2 is what we're going to do. So that being said, overall impression of the 6 episodes we just watched. What do you think?
I think they were good overall. They definitely had their highs and lows. I don't know if I could necessarily give a letter grade for all of them because I did, similar to you, binge some at a time, and some blend together more than others. But as we get into it, you'll understand the differentiation. But like,
I didn't make good notes, but I just kind of made a note of my rough impression of like a letter grade when I watched the episode, which doesn't help now of like recalling specific details. I just threw up on there so people have an idea of roughly the episodes we're talking about. Now, this is the Netflix watch order, which is incorrect.
Correct.
We have been corrected by people in our comments, so we both watched it in the correct watch order. That being said, I think the first one we both watched was Robogeddon, correct?
Robotpalooza. I like your name better. That maybe is closer to the Deca Ranger one, but yeah, this is a classic. I mean, I've read it in comics. We've seen it in other shows. Of you got to fight monsters or bad guys over and over and over again. Eventually the heroes get tired out, and that's the whole big master plan.
That was basically how Bane took on Batman in Nightfall.
Oh,
the original comic. Yeah.
Sorry, there's another Bane story where he recreates that, but yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I guess it's the only strategy he knows.
Yeah, but it's funny because I haven't read Nightfall, but I read the other story that Bane was in. And I was like,
spoilers for Nightfall, which came out in 1992. It was basically Bane was like, I'm going to get everybody to attack Batman over and over, all his biggest villains. And then when he's weak, I'll come in and break his back, essentially.
Happens to Spider-Man 2 in at least one story that I know of.
It's this out of all the episodes we watched, these 6, not the entire season, although this is my least favorite of the 6 new episodes.
I don't know if it was my least favorite, and like straight coming to mind, there's like the bridge episode, which I didn't love.
Oh, kind of disagree there, but continue.
But the thing that got me was I liked seeing all of the different robots, but to be completely honest, because of how high some of the other episodes were, this is fairly forgettable.
Well, that's I gave it a C. There's nothing really wrong with it. I didn't hate it, but it was fairly forgettable. It just felt like, here's the thing. All Power Ranger seasons have filler episodes, including SPD. But SPD has done a really good job of making the filler episodes not feel like filler episodes or take a standard trope and like put a new spin on it. This felt like a standard trope without a new spin. It was just kind of standard. Well done. Acting was fine. Effects were fine. But I barely remember what it was about because it was just like, oh, they won the day. And, it didn't advance any things. So compared to all the other episodes in the season and even just these 6, it was just like, nothing noteworthy happened in my mind. So that's why I give it a C, because it wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It was fine.
I'll go C+. Like I said, I don't totally remember it, but I'm only giving it the plus because the silver lining is we got to see so many more villains, even though it was kind of like a meh episode that, that gives it just a slight up.
I mean, that's a fair reason, but I'm not giving it that just because I just wasn't engaged. Usually when I watch these episodes, a lot of times when I'm watching them, I try to multitask. Like, let me clean my room and with a lot of Power Rangers, I could do that. With this season, I constantly am like, I stop doing what I'm doing. I just watch, and I don't get the thing done. This episode, I was able to multitask. I was like organizing comics on the floor and I was able to continue doing that while I watched it. And that doesn't mean I wasn't paying attention, but I didn't like stop. Like I didn't lose myself in the episode, which happens with most of these episodes.
It's funny because I only did that with some of these episodes. And there's one episode where I had the exact opposite effect, but I had the same effect as you for everything else where I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing other stuff. And like sometimes I'd actually pause and I'm like, okay, I can't be distracted for this. Okay, back.
Yeah. Same. All right. Yeah. So with a few degrees of separation, we basically agree about Robotpalooza. The next one, I think, was it Catastrophe?
No, Impact is next. And this one's around, there's a meteor.
Okay, so this was in the correct order on Netflix.
That's my understanding. Yeah,
it's on the screen, and I'm telling you. Yeah. I have the Netflix listing. You have the correct listing. So
no, I'm looking at the same listing you are.
What do you mean?
So we talked about this prior to the show.
Yeah.
But the watch order is not correct on Netflix for the whole season. But for all of the episodes we're talking about, it's correct.
No. We did not understand each other when we were talking before. I don't know how correct the episodes are before SWAT. Everything before SWAT, I just watched in Netflix order, having no idea if that's correct or not, and assuming it was. When we talked on the SWAT episodes or right before it, some of our viewers in the comments, and I'm sorry I'm not remembering who said this, said, hey guys, I think 2 different people said it actually. Hey guys, just so you know, the watch order is incorrect on Netflix, and they listed out the actual correct watch order. And you could corroborate it online. And so that is the order I watched them in.
So I watched them in this order, except for the episode that we're watching at a later date.
Okay. Meaning, well, we could say it's not like a spoiler. Wormhole.
Yeah, Wormhole is the only one I started in order.
You must have seen that comment because there was someone that made the comment like, hey, that comes at the end of the listing, but it shouldn't. But there was another one where it talked about, no, here's the correct order. And that's why before we started, I'm like, hey, do you have the actual watch order? Because I'll have the Netflix order and you could have the watch order and we'll talk about the differences. And you're like,
what do you mean we're not prepared? My bad. I misunderstood you.
I think you talk about what a terrible job we're doing. And I will see if I can find that watch order list that I have on my phone real quick.
Okay. So, I watched these in order from 27 all the way to like 33 or 34. Okay. Yeah. For the Netflix order, quote unquote. So I watched all these in this order. Okay.
All right. I took a screenshot which didn't include the name of the person. I apologize. But so comparing it to what we see here, SWAT 1 and 2, Robotpalooza. That's correct. The next one you're supposed to watch is Catastrophe, not Impact.
Okay.
So, and then after that, you're supposed to watch Missing, which brings us down below and then History, which sort of goes in order, and then Badge, and then Insomnia, and then Wormhole and Resurrection.
Yeah, so I only got 2 of them mixed up then.
Okay, so you did not watch Wormhole and Resurrection, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we still watched the same episodes, but in different order.
Yeah, I just mixed up Catastrophe and Impact.
Okay, no big deal then. Okay, we could talk about, let's talk about Catastrophe, because that's the next one that we're supposed to have watched.
Yeah, Catastrophe was pretty good. I obviously liked Cat getting a Ranger suit, even though it was short-lived.
That's my only complaint, is like, every episode after that, when they were having a problem, I'm like, oh, okay, well, they're going to find a way to recharge her more for, or like she's a genius. And they, like, it seems like at some point they'd be like, here, I have another hour, only an hour a day or something. Cause it's cool. It was like, that would make her technically the 7th, the 8th Ranger, make her the 8th Ranger, which, now is not such a rare thing, but back then that was a little bit more unusual.
Yeah. It's a weird kind of plot hole they throw in, which is completely dumb in my opinion, because there's so many other things that they like work around that I think that was just kind of use of Sentai footage, if anything. But whatever.
I think in the Sentai, I haven't watched it, but just from like toys and stuff, I'm pretty sure her counterpart is called Deca Swan, which also makes me believe that it's like, is that in the Sentai she's based on a swan instead of a cat? And they just went with it. Like, I don't know. Cause it does look like cat ears and stuff, but the color does kind of look like a swan. So I don't know. And her attacks look kind of dancey too. So I was thinking like Swan Lake Ballet. Now I could have looked any of this up, but I didn't. I decided to just muse on it right now with you.
Now I think it's smart to not look it up now until we do kind of SPD and review in case there's spoilers.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah. But no, I really like this episode. I thought it was an A-level episode. I like Kat as a like tech mentor, whatever you're going to call her. I like that they already established she could fight, and there's a lot of cool civilian fighting. I like the B story of her going to the new base and everybody really not wanting her to go, but covering for her. Had a lot of fun boom antics. And then, then when she got involved in action, like she used her brains a little bit, she used her brawns a little bit, and then she became a Power Ranger. Like, so it kind of had everything I would want from this kind of like extra Ranger episode where it really highlighted her in all the ways I would want. There's like, I feel like you're going to have a complaint that I don't, but like thinking about it, I can't think of anything they did wrong or that I like wished they did. I thought they did it all.
They didn't do anything wrong. They're like, and this has nothing to do with the episode. This is just my review of this character on the season. I don't like the big bird in charge. Like, I really don't like the bird guy.
You don't like the way he looks, or you don't like the character?
Yep.
I don't know if we talked about this. I don't know if we talked about this on an episode or amongst ourselves, but I said how I was kind of impressed how good he looked. And you were like, yeah, because you like that old 80s special effects or something like that. And I'm like, I guess. Like,
no, we did. And I said, because I think we both agreed. You said it reminded you of Farscape, and I was going for like, it reminds you of like Farscape or like Deep Space Nine or something vibes. Which is why I'm like, of course you like it.
Yeah. Well, but I guess the thing is the design my favorite? No. I actually prefer Doggy Kruger and a couple other characters, but I appreciate the versatility it gives the actor in emoting and expressing itself. And while the alien, you can say the alien species or the design, not my favorite. I don't think it's super appealing, but the actual makeup application I think is very well done. I don't see seams. It doesn't look stupid. It doesn't look campy. It's just kind of ugly, you know? And I don't hold it being ugly against it, because there are ugly people in the world, and there are ugly animals on our world. So there could be a race of bird people that are kind of ugly,
I agree with everything you've said. I don't like the character, which makes me like use that as a negative because I don't already like the character.
Fair. And I don't think we're supposed to like the character. He's supposed to be this hard ass kind of guy, whatever. But he did show in the other episode where even though he wants things a certain way, he's willing to admit he's wrong and make concessions. So while I wouldn't want to go hang out with him, he seems like a firm but fair kind of guy, which I could, okay, fine. Like, I don't want to get coffee with you, but if you're at my job, that's fine.
Well, it was a thing too that was kind of frustrating where he was like, yeah, delegate your tasks to all these other people. She's like, no, like the reason I'm good and the reason you promoted me is because I do this stuff myself. He's like, no, you're going to delegate from now on. And that's what led to everything.
I think that's fine, though, because we also had to establish she got this chance of a lifetime to go there. Now, all of our Ranger pals don't want her to go, and they need her both for friendship and her competency. But she had to also decide she didn't want to be there, because if she just went back to save them, it'd be like, oh, well, she went back to save them, but she missed this great opportunity of her dream job. So there had to be a reason why she also didn't really want to be there, and that was the reason.
Yeah, I guess. Overall, it was good. I would say it's in the B range for me. I don't remember where
I think I like
the B range
more than you, maybe.
Yes, you do. And there's nothing wrong with Cat. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't my favorite for, various reasons. Parts of it were forgettable for me in all of these episodes. So It's in the mid to high B range for me.
It's solid A for me. Yeah, solid A. But again, not a huge disagreement, just degrees. So the next one then,
Impact.
Okay. Yeah, I think we'll just go with Impact. Let's just go with the Netflix one from that at this point on to make life easy. So
Impact, those are the only two that are flipped.
I realized though that there's the Netflix list, there's the correct watch order list, and then there's the list where I put the grades on my little phone here. And I don't know if this was what order this was in. It was just like, oh, I remember giving this. So I realized, let's just go with Netflix and just whatever that says, that's what it is. So Impact. And actually, you know what we should have been doing is Impact. I'll read the little synopsis. Impact. Jack and Sky embarked on a dangerous mission to stop an incoming meteors from destroying Earth. One meteor, not two. I just slurred my speech there a little bit.
So this episode's about Jack and Sky who have to stop a meteor that happens to be coming toward Earth. But
isn't it more than one meteor? It's meteors, isn't it?
No, it's just the one. So it's funny that that's what it says, because in the entire episode, they're like, this meteor is coming specifically for our city. And they don't mention the Earth being in peril. They're like, our city will be destroyed. And you're like, well, that's
did they say just the city? I thought it would hit the city, but the implication was that the whole Earth would be.
I don't remember if it's the implication that it'll destroy the Earth. I specifically remember them being like, it's heading straight for this city, because it's a name I don't remember.
Okay. I like this episode.
I did too.
I wonder if it came out around the same time as Deep Impact or Armageddon or something like that. Like I don't know how the times line up. No,
this is way later. Later.
Yeah, you're right. End of the world, like catastrophe type things are not my favorite genre. So like that part of it was not my favorite, but I really liked the Jack and Sky stuff in this episode.
Yep.
It furthered like the relationship that sometimes like we talk about other episodes, like the one where they were in boot camp, where it was like, why do they hate each other? Like it makes sense. But this is like, they've went from being like, I hate your guts, to kind of being like a Ken and Ryu, or like a Storm Shadow Snake Eyes, kind of like a rivalry, or like, well, we respect each other and we don't, get along in certain ways, but we're kind of almost brothers in other ways. So I really dug that. And I especially liked that Jack makes this sacrifice. And again, spoilers, but if you're watching this, we're assuming you've seen these episodes. And then Sky is like, oh, we know he's getting along, but I respected him and he was great. And he kind of says all this nice stuff. And then Jack's like, yo, I'm back. I knew I wasn't going to die. It's like, I was like, that's perfect. I thought it was so funny.
It really was. I will say, everything you said, I agree with. The one thing I didn't like, and this goes back for a frustration to Wild Force, I don't like where a big plot device is taken out by something that I feel is weaker than like the solution, if that makes sense.
Elaborate.
So in this episode, the meteor was coming. They got the Delta Megazord going. They turned it into the gun mode, which we haven't talked about. And I really like that, by the way. It is a super cool mode. But they use that and it blows like the outer shell of it off. And then there's a core still hurling toward Earth. And Jack and Sky get into it. And he's like, no, I'm going to go. And you go back to Earth. And like, great seeing you. Does this very somber morph, goes into it. And then it's revealed he like stands on top of the Megazord jet mode flying in, shoots it with his Delta Blaster, and it blows up. Which I'm like, no, you needed to do something cool, like revert the thrusters into the blast. This can only work once. I hope it works. I would have preferred that over. I used my gun that I use on cronies, and it blew up the big MacGuffin.
I get your nitpick. I'm not saying it's completely invalid, but I thought there was a line. He said something about as I was going in, or I realized that there was this one little spot that was vulnerable. So it actually made perfect sense to have just like hit that one spot to cause a chain reaction. I thought he said something about that.
All of that is true. It didn't need to be with the blaster. It could have been with something else. And then it's I told you I was a better shot than you. Ha ha ha.
I understand why that bothers you. It didn't bother me as much because the story between the two of them and that whole thing just worked really well for me. So the fact that the actual solution was like not as good as it maybe could have been just really didn't bother me.
Bothered me. And the way that it harkened back to my frustration that I've been holding for years is the Forever Red episode. Hey, do you like our new motorcycle that we're trying to sell you? Hey, it solved the episode. Here you go.
And here's the thing with that plot device doesn't bother me as much as the bad CGI did. If it was like
of course, that's what frustrated you.
Yeah, because if it looked awesome and the new motorcycle toy like tore into it, like blew out the sides, and it's like like fire, like and it was like amazing, I'd be fine with it. But it was like that looks dumb. So that bothered me.
All of it I didn't like. The thing that gets me about Power Rangers specifically, if they use something to like solve an episode, I really want to remember it. I can remember most of the times that it's like, oh, thank gosh they had the battleizer. That like totally saved the day and it looked cool. I don't remember 9 times out of 10 when a motorcycle does anything, except for Casey's and Jungle Fury, because it's kind of a battleizer, and I'm a big fan of that.
And I think it's just an awesome looking bike too.
And his little like football armor and stuff. Man, I miss that.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason he's the best Red Ranger. Anyway, so I thought this episode was like a B+A. And
it's a B range.
I think B+ more. And here's why I say that, because I liked, again, the Jack and Sky stuff a lot, but the rest of it was just sort of whatever. It was fine, but the Jack and Sky stuff elevated from a lesser episode. So I'll say B+ for me. And you're saying B?
Yeah, only because, like I said, like those 3 I binge watched together, and then the rest I binge watched today. So I remember these ones a lot more vividly for various reasons.
Gotcha. I didn't watch any today. I did my homework better, but that means I remember them less clearly. Okay, so Impact, Catastrophe we already talked about. Oh, I'm on the wrong thing here. So
Missing is what I have.
Missing is the bridge one, right?
All right, my turn.
Yeah, go ahead.
Bridge is captured, and the other Rangers must use all of their skills to find him before he is destroyed.
Now, destroyed is Power Ranger speak for killed, correct?
Yeah, no longer in being.
Yes. You had issues with this one.
I didn't love it.
What?
I really didn't love it.
Specifically, what didn't you like about it?
So I love Bridge. Mm-hmm. Nothing against Bridge. I think everything he did, like as his character, was reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't totally understand how the Master's powers worked to like teleport him into that room.
I mean, I didn't either, but there are always villains that have powers that just do stuff. So why did it bother you?
Yeah, I just didn't like but here's the biggest thing I think I had an issue with. Okay. I was fine with it being time sensitive to save him. I didn't like that they went New Hope on like, he was in this room the whole time, leaning against the wall, taking a nap, whatever. Fair. And then at the last minute, they went, by the way, trash compactor, go. And it's like,
I'll go you one better. I liked this episode, but the trash compactor aspect is my least favorite part. Partially because what you said, but also once it started moving, it seemed to be like moving this fast. And then Jack got close and it went like this. And then Jack broke the door and it was like, it's like, it sped up, which is, they do in a lot of movies and shows and stuff, but I'm never big. It's the same way the timer always gets to 0, like it doesn't need to be quite that close. It's still a dangerous situation. So I'll agree with you that was my least favorite part of the episode.
Yeah.
but that wasn't enough to like ruin it for me. And also, it was a Bridge episode, and I liked what Bridge did, but there was a lot of awesome action with Jack when he split off and got in the truck, and he's just mowing down all the Crybots, and he's just like blasting them. And then he's like, I gotta get through the truck, and he's just like, and the whole team again, kind of like what with the Sky and Bridge, Sky and Jack thing, like the relationship with the dynamics of like they're a team now. One of theirs is down, and we got to get him. And there's no like, why were you off on your own, or you made a mistake? Doesn't matter. He went, he got caught. Time to get him. And Jack's like, I'm gonna get him. And so like, I liked the Bridge stuff, but I really liked how Jack was just like mowing everybody down in cool action. And so like the whole thing worked for me.
I like the like little battle van, SWAT van tank thing that he used.
Yeah.
I liked that he got on the turret.
Yes.
I do like how he sped up. I did like the back and forth, and Jack's part was clearly Sentai footage, and Bridges obviously was not. But I liked how it's like, where are you? And Bridge just being literal all the time. I'm in a room. Okay, give me some more. And then he gave him enough clues to figure it out, which was nice. The X-ray vision that they have in SWAT mode, I think, is mildly MacGuffin-y, but I also enjoy it. Like the fact that they established it before now, I really appreciated, because it was like, okay, cool. You didn't just use it now and then you have it forever kind of thing.
It's always annoying. Well, it's not always annoying. It can be annoying when they get a new gadget, like in Star Trek, where they have a tricorder, and it could just do whatever needs to be done. You know what I mean? That's always a little bit like, but they had a certain set of powers they had as civilians, a certain set of Ranger powers, and they got their SWAT abilities. And we're not 100% sure what all their SWAT abilities are. So the fact that a few of them are being defined as we go also doesn't bother me. And it's not like super X-ray vision. It's not like, oh, I have the power to blow up a Megazord. Like, it's just, okay, X-ray vision. Sure. That's a believable thing SWAT mode could give you.
In the future. Sure.
Yeah. Why not?
This one, high B range for me. If I went over it more closely, I could be convinced it's an A-. But for right now, being conservative, I'm going to go high Bs.
A, but I mean, I'm a little bit biased because of Bridge, but I think the Jack stuff was awesome too. So
the Jack stuff was awesome, but I really want to talk about the next episode, which for me is history. Is it the same for you?
Yes.
Okay. Your turn.
Okay. History. Broodwing brings the Dino Rangers from the past to fight on the side of evil. Which never happens.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what a clickbaity title that is. I thoroughly enjoyed this crossover.
Me too. The only critique I have is that, like it says, Broodwing brings them over to be evil, and never even for a second. It's not like they snap out of it. It's not like he's like, "Here you are. Here's your crystals. Oops, you're not gonna fight for me. Okay." You know, like it just
Oh, sorry. Go for it.
That being said, they did do that with the Ninja Storm Rangers coming back and do it in Dino Thunder when they were evil. Yes. So I didn't want to see that again. So
that's why I think they did it, to be like, oh, we're doing this again. Just kidding. No, we're not.
Yeah. So I'm fine with it. I'm just gonna say I give this one an A+.
This was a solid A.
It should have been an A because of the weird Broodwing's plan just being so terrible, but I don't care. It's a way to get those Rangers in, and it was fun. And it is a thing. I've talked about this before. Dino Thunder is a fine season. It's not one of my favorite seasons. No matter what season I watch, no matter how much I like or dislike it, when they move on and the next team comes, when those old Rangers come back, I'm like, yeah! Like, you know, when we're in space and Justin comes back from Turbo, Justin wasn't my favorite character at all. When he comes back, I'm like, yeah, Justin! And it was the same as this. Like, Dino Thunder, I liked fine. It was a fine series. Yeah. None of my favorite Rangers. And when they came back, I was like, oh, guys, yeah. Like, it's just something.
You just needed some time to marinate.
It's almost like if you, like, quit a job that you hate or something, and then you go back there and you see the people, oh, you guys, it just seems so fun, you know? Like,
the thing that I really appreciated about this is it didn't seem one-sided like some crossovers do, of the old team needs to save the new team, or the new team needs to save the old team. It was fairly even. The only thing was SPD kind of overestimated themselves and underestimated the Dino Rangers, and they're like,
no, that had to happen.
Yeah, but that's why they're like, no, like, we literally fought off these Crybots, did not know they were robots, and with kind of hindsight looking back, I love how they destroyed them. They're like, "Oh, these are robots."
Right.
Oh, oh, that was convenient.
Good thing.
Yeah, just see a bunch of just arms and pieces going. It's like, oh, hey, this is a robot, guys. Really lucked out of that one. Don't need to freak out this time.
It is a bummer that they didn't have Tommy and what was the White Ranger's name?
Trent.
What was it? Trent. It's a bummer they didn't have Tommy and Trent back, which seems to be a trope that often the six Rangers or the extra Rangers don't come back. I imagine they couldn't get Jason David Frank to come back, but whatever. So, but I'm not complaining about that. But this crossover is an example of many crossovers we had in the past that show how to do it right, which is like, as much as I got excited about Dimensions in Danger and all these other ones, like it's always fun. I always like a crossover. It's like in the moment, I was like, Dimensions in Danger is awesome. But when I watch this, I'm like, it's so much better because we get to see a little bit of, hey, where are the Dino Thunder Rangers now? Oh, this is what they're doing. Oh, here they are. Here's their point of view. Here's them fighting a civilian. Like they treat them as characters as opposed to like just a guest that pops up and goes, hey, remember me? I used to be the Blue Ranger. Bye. And so it was a one-parter that felt like a two-parter because we got so much of each team separately. Then they came together and they didn't quite get along. And then they team up and they all do their super mode and everything's awesome. And there's that huge fight at the end where everybody gets a chance to shine and the girls do their thing. And it's like, it just everybody got a moment to shine and all the characters felt real. And it just, I don't know. It was good. And it bums me out because it makes me like some of the later crossovers less that I used to like more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The way I think of Power Ranger crossovers is all of them are like pizza. You will always eat it. It's always good to a certain degree, but there's some, like for me, Forever Red, where you're like, oh, you know what I've been craving? Just a chef's kiss. That pizza. That's what I want right now.
And here's the thing. Forever Red, Dimensions in Danger, the Super Mega War, whatever that was called, those are like ultimate crossovers. We have like lots of different seasons. And I can understand how some of those may be better than others. And maybe, you didn't have a chance to develop all the characters. But what I miss, and I think a lot of fans miss, is when it's the previous season and the current season. So it's just
100%.
And it's like, and then you could really do, and that Sentai still does that. So it's not like it's Hasbro or Saban or whoever makes those decisions not to use that footage, or maybe there's a contract. I'm sure somebody below could tell us the legal reasons. But regardless of what goes on behind the scene, as a fan, they used to do it, and then they stopped. And it's a bummer. And now we've got a few crossovers with like multiple seasons, which is nice, but I'd rather have seen like the full Samurai team up with the full Megaforce team or whatever, I know they're not the most popular seasons, but you get my point, rather than just, oh, here's Antonio showing up and for a second,
Well, here's the bummer. For the last couple years, you have to remember they didn't go in succession of the Sentai.
True. That's true. But they stopped doing the crossovers before that happened, I believe. Did RPM? Well, okay, hold on. What are we at? S.P.D.
RPM crossed over with Samurai.
No, it didn't. Oh, yeah, kind of.
Steel.
You're right, but it was just RPM Red unmorphed. It wasn't like the whole teams. It was. You're right, but it barely counts.
Well, I will take that, considering that it was after they changed the rights and probably couldn't do that.
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
Double Ninja Steel. Samurai was included in Super Mega Force, but not Mega Force. So yeah, I guess that was the last one they did.
Yeah, because Samurai was included because everybody was included in that.
Yeah,
but they never had like Shinkenger, Goseiger, whatever.
Yeah, Jaden was in episodes, but I don't remember if he morphed ever.
He was no, he was one of the ones that I don't even know if it was him and Mentor G, and he never morphed. Actually, most of the guest stars didn't morph because Casey was in it too and didn't morph, which was kind of a weird. I'd have to look at the Sentai to see. Maybe the Sentai didn't have morph either. I know in the Sentai it was more of like, hey, you talk to me, you learn about my background, you learn my powers, you've earned the right to turn into my ranger, kind of something like that. Whereas that was not at all true in the American version. So it was more just like, hey, I'm a ranger that happens to be here today. Like, let's hang out.
Yeah.
And, all right.
So those were the ones that overlapped.
Yeah.
Megaforce and Super Megaforce literally could not.
Right. Dino Charge and Super Megaforce did not.
Well, because they can't, because Go Busters was in the middle.
True. And I guess Go Busters. Well, okay, that's a good example, though. The Dino crossover, which I enjoyed and was multiple episodes, it still wasn't as good as this in terms of treating the characters with respect and fleshing them out. Like they had, it was 2, technically 3-part, depending how you want to count those crossover episodes. And they had most of Dino Charge and 1 Mighty Morphin. And none of those characters, even Jason, who was like treated with star power, like we don't know what he's doing, where he's been, we didn't see, like it's just, it doesn't.
If you need me to love the episode more, you're doing a good job because I loved it, right?
So no, but that's the thing. I like those episodes and they're fun, but it's more like those are really good Beast Morphers episodes that have some guest stars. This was a really good Dino Thunder crossed with SPD episode where they treat those characters with respect and that's the main difference, I think, is that it's just
we still have more episodes to talk about, but all we've learned is we don't know what they did in 2004, 2005, but they did it so well. Why was it so difficult to do after that? Is all we're hearing.
Okay, sure.
You had 15 years to look back at Netflix until it left, and you couldn't figure it out, guys. No, we still enjoyed Beast Morphers, though. Go watch the previous reviews if you haven't already.
Yeah, no, Beast Morphers is a great season. Okay, so what's next was History Badge.
Ooh, this one's me. Kruger's old rival teams up with Broodwing to take down the Rangers one by one. Really dug this episode. Really dug it.
I love having the evil doggy, basically.
Yes, I love rivalries like that where it's literally an opposite of our hero.
Yes.
Spider-Man, Venom, Joker, Batman. This guy's name with the Aqua Sword and Shadow Ranger. Like, loved it.
Is he Icky? If something like fishy. Icky. Ichiodon or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Yeah, but
I remember watching it, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to talk about this probably. Try to remember his name.
I remember Doggy had a shortened version of his name. That's why I'm thinking like Icky or something, but it doesn't matter. He was a good fighter with a cool sword, but he didn't have the honor and scruples that Doggy did. He failed out, and he hates him. Now, here's the thing. This was a great episode. The way he took apart the Rangers, the whole thing with him and Doggy. I give it an A-, and I'll tell you why.
Same.
Okay, well, maybe it's the same reason. I would give it an A if it wasn't for one thing. Doggy's girlfriend, his girlfriend at the time, looks horrible. Horrible. She looked like, and not like the way the eagle looks horrible. Like, I don't like the design. Like, it looks like, and obviously it's American footage, and Doggy looks good, and his enemy looks good, and she's like the same race as Doggy, but he looks like an alien dog person. She looks like someone that you put an alien dog person mask on, like in that world. You know what I mean? Like he gets over there and he pulls off, wait, you're not my girlfriend. That's like what, and it doesn't move right. And it's like I hated it so much. And it's this horrible battle where the friends are tearing each other apart. And I'm like, over this lady with a mask for a head? What are you talking about? Like, so that bothered me so much that I took a half a grade off it. Otherwise, it would have been an A.
I didn't enjoy that, but once again, certain cosmetic things in CGI bother you more than me. This was another one. I was like, concessions made. The thing that bugged me, and there was no way around this, so I'm not really blaming them, but what I didn't like, and the only reason they couldn't go around this is because they had to use Sentai footage for the final fight, was everybody was literally hospitalized after fighting this guy. Everybody. Every single Ranger. And then they're like, we're not going to follow orders. We're going to go in the fight. And in the fight, everybody looks fresh as can be, which I get the limitations, but it was a little frustrating.
You know what made me feel better about it? Because when they were getting up and like you said, like they had their hands in braces and they're like, okay, we're going to fight. Like, I pretended it was an anime for a minute, or even a Japanese Sentai, because it's just like the will to fight is like, I'm so strong, I'm gonna break out of this cast, and like I'm so angry that my bones are okay now. It's ridiculous, but I just let it slide. Like kind of like you said about the bad effects. I'm like, I want to see them go fight. I'm okay. It makes no sense, but I'm okay with this. I also what was the thing? Oh, I also really like how Doggy initially beats him. Straight up just beats him, proving that he's more disciplined, he's the better fighter, he's been doing this longer regardless of who's good and evil. But then the guy invokes his wife's name and he says all this stuff and he's like, oh, and he doubts himself.
Martha, why did you say that name?
No, because that was stupid. This was good because he did go, oh, I don't want to, and he hesitated just long enough that the other guy attacked him and got him down. And so, but Doggy again learns from his mistakes, and so then he beats him the second time. And he's like, "Remember?" And he's like, "No, shut up, Justice, done." Like, so I like that. Yeah. So that
I also like the seed he planted, though. He's like,
alive.
Yeah, he's like, "No, you're lying." He's like, "No, for real, she is alive, my guy.
Yeah.
She is alive." He's like, "Nope, Justice Badge," and he's like, "Ah!" But no, overall, really enjoyed it. Just an A- because of that minor thing. But I did like, though, similar to what we had in Impact, where Sky and Jack kind of had a Venn diagram of like why they're similar and like why they're good Rangers and stuff. Same with Doggy and same with Jack. Doggy gets so mad at Jack for doing Jack things and then literally does the same thing. And I loved how Jack stormed off, but I didn't love how Doggy stormed off. I think they could have taken a little more time, literally like less than 30 seconds, to like hype up the exit for everybody there instead of like, "Oh, blah blah blah, I just took off my neck brace, crack crack." Okay,
I think you're right, but I think there was so much happening in such a short episode, they had no choice.
I get it.
I think they would have had to cut it out.
Concessions had to be made, but that's what would have turned it from good to great for me.
Gotcha. Well, I think it was great. I think A- is still a great
to great. You know what I mean? What I mean.
Okay, so that was Badge. So the next one is Insomnia. Okay. This is the
Wait, hang on, Gaz. Before you go to the description, can you just think of a time that we reviewed an episode like this, and can we go back to that moment and just, reflect on maybe a time that we could have reviewed a different episode of Power Rangers?
It was, I think it was Beast Morphers, and it was a Halloween clip show episode. Yes. So this is a clip show episode, obviously. But it doesn't tell you that. It says the teams. Wait, the teens? That's weird.
They are apparently teens in this, by the way.
All of them? Like even Sky? I thought Sky was whatever. Okay, so usually they refer to them as the team or the Rangers. Like even though they're often seen as teenagers, in this one specifically, that wasn't like a big selling point.
It's not a driving force,
No, but this description: the teens grapple with failure after Kruger. What does it say? Oh, after Kruger hails the A Squad. That also doesn't make sense. When did he hail the A Squad? I guess
that was the whole point of it. Is they heard part of a conversation they.
Yes, but I think they mean hail, like hail the A Squad. Whereas I was thinking like Star Trek, like A Squad, come in. Hailing frequencies aren't happening, Captain. Like so that through. Okay, so yes, this is a clip show episode. Clip show episodes are never good, but they're necessary. I think what this one has going for it is two things. And I will be honest, when I watched it, I fast forwarded through the clips because like I
did for part of it too.
It's if we had been watching it week to week and this has been months later, it might be kind of fun, especially on like broadcast television. But it's like I just watched this episode like 3 days ago. I don't need a recap. Even the oldest ones were only a couple months ago. So, but what it has going for it is, it comes towards the end of the season, which I think is where they should always come, because it's like, okay, we're getting ready for the big final battle. Let's recap everything that's happened and see how far we've come. So that's a good time to have a clip show, not in the middle or like episode 8 or something ridiculous like sometimes they do.
Yeah.
The other thing it has going for it is it has a little bit of forwarding the plot. Not as good as the Beast Morphers one, but it has a little bit of the little girl, I forget her name, discovering discovering the horrible evil and all that stuff. So it's not skippable. Fact that which is kind of a double-edged sword, because some people want to skip a clip show, but you shouldn't skip this one, So I give it a B, based like, which sounds weird because I gave Robotpalooza a C. Robotpalooza is a better episode because it's an original episode, but this one forwarded the plot, and for a clip show, I think they kind of did it pretty decent. So for a clip show, I give it a B. If I'm rating against all the other episodes, then I give it like a C- or a D+ because it's a clip show,
Yeah. I'm gonna go C.
Okay, that's fair. I mean,
there were clips I enjoyed watching again, and then there were other ones kind of like you, where if I didn't fast forward, I was actively doing other things. If I did fast forward, it was for obvious reasons.
Yeah, I fast forward, and with the villain stuff was interesting. The hero stuff, I like, and again, I like that there was an impetus where at the end, Doggy's like, well, if you had listened the whole time, you would have heard me say that they didn't Sorry. I don't know what happened there. I realized I started doing a voice that wasn't anything like Dougie Kruger, and in my head I'm like, why am I doing this voice? And then I just started and anyway, he says how they weren't dumb enough to get caught. You weren't dumb enough to get caught. Hi, is this on? So it has a little bit of that, and it, like I said, it comes at a good time in the season, but it was definitely not an exciting episode to end my 6 episode run on of like, oh, that was okay. So that is, I think we're caught up now, right? To where we've watched up to.
Yes. So we have 4 episodes left for just watching SPD. We have Wormhole, which we plan on watching next. Resurrection, which we have not discussed watching, but might be a possibility. We'll see.
Nope.
Will not be a possibility. And then Endings Part 1 and 2.
Yeah. Because we have today, and again, somebody commented like we're mentioning the days. Because of the way this is working, we're recording these all well in advance. Some of the other episodes are mixing in of like Big Dog's Comic Zone and stuff like that, but we're just trying to power through these before we run out. So today's the 26th. They all go away on the 31st, which means we have 5 days to record 3 episodes. And you're like, maybe we should do a 4th. No, that's not going to happen.
Well, I'm hoping the 4th. I'm hoping Resurrection isn't the episode I think it is, because it'll be a bummer not to review it. But we're gonna get to watch it either way. So that's the silver lining.
Well, you said you wanted to do Wormhole. We could skip Wormhole and do Resurrection.
No, we're not skipping Wormhole. But Resurrection.
If Resurrection shows up, just know that I'm as shocked as you guys are. Because I right now I don't think it's going to happen.
I'm just really stoked. I started Wormhole before we recorded this and went, hey, wouldn't that be a great episode to review? So I have nothing else to say. I'm the Big Dawg Defender.
I continue to be Gazbot.
And
to the power.
See you guys later.
Yes, we will see you later. I wasn't ready. Do you know what I'm looking for?
Something that we've used in the past.
Operation Overdrive is my favorite season.
No, that's not helpful right now. We need the end credits.
It was something in the past. I'll allow it. Hey, Gazbot, remember when we used to talk over the credits? It feels like forever ago. What a good flashback.
Remember when we walked down that street? Remember when you bought that hat?
I don't remember when I got that hat, but I do remember walking down that street. That was literally a lifetime ago. Many things have happened since that recording.
Yeah, so, I mean, that was either before we started the show or when we were like 1 or 2 episodes in. So not even just the world has changed, but even just we've changed. The way we do the show has changed. Like we used to be on Twitch. Remember that? We were on Twitch. Twitch was our primary thing and YouTube was the secondary thing.
Not that I don't miss Twitch, because there are times that I do miss Twitch. This is so much more convenient. It's not even funny.
Because we don't have to worry about hitting a certain time stamp. Yeah.
And I don't have traffic anymore.
Oh, right. Because of work. I'm looking for the end broadcast button. All right. Say whatever you want. That's not a word.